Welcome to the LA Business Podcast, a forum for business owners and senior executives to share the experiences about the elements that drive their success. Your host is Robert Brill, CEO of BrillMedia.co.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the LA Business Podcast. Today our guest is John Schwind, President at Global Safety First, LLC. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks, Robert. My pleasure being here.
So we were saying right before we started recording, I like your masks. They look really interesting, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you've been doing this for a long time.
We're not the Johnny come lately. It's not COVID that we said, hey, let's develop a mask. We actually started this with some friends after the first World Trade Center bombing. The idea back in 1998. So the idea was to have something you could get out of a bad situation, something that would protect your nose, your mouth, your eyes. And so many years of development, lots of trial and error, lots of highs and lows, lots of working with the government, and at times fighting the government to get something unique certified. So
that, John, that was 1994
or 98. So
98.
93 was the first World Trade Center bombing, and 98 is really when we kind of started. You know, the original idea was a wet mask, terry cloth in a cigar tube with some straps, and conventional wisdom. You're in a burning building or smoke, hold something wet in front of your nose and mouth and get out. So that was kind of the genesis. And we realized that if it doesn't seal, then all of the particles are going to go around the outside. So we started with an adhesive. And, with a wet environment, it was hard to do something and keep it wet. And then we hit on a dry filter and eventually incorporated an eye shield. So I will show you the really kind of our first mask. So it's lightweight, it's portable. This one I just pulled out of a package, and has an eye shield built into it, high efficiency filter here, and a release liner that goes all the way around the perimeter. So I'll take my glasses off to don this, and the release liner just pulls off. I hold it on the sides, put it over my forehead, and then I seal down the sides. And now I'm completely sealed in.
I love that.
It's not fogging up, and eyeglasses go right over the top because it's a flexible eye shield. Okay.
And you can breathe. So, you can breathe without sounding like Darth Vader.
Absolutely. And that's, law enforcement loves this mask because of audio communication. You don't have that muffled sound. You and I are on a podcast right now, and you probably, if you couldn't see me, you probably wouldn't know that I have anything on. So,
yeah, it sounds good.
Mm-hmm. So
and this is the final product.
This is one of the final products. So this is this is not certified. We're working with the government to get this certified, but they're classifying this in the same category as a gas mask. So that's one of our challenges. So the other masks that we do have are certified N95, and so it's really, if you look at it, it's the same filter. And this is an N95 mask here, and it's the exact same size filter. We just incorporated an eye shield. And so this has a release liner, and this is an N95 respirator. It's the only flat N95 respirator on the market, okay? And you wear it either way, and this just seals above your nose and then down, and you're completely sealed in. Put your eyeglasses over the top, and they don't fog up. Part of the problem with all respirators is they leak. And so you have glasses that fog up. It's lightweight, portable, really easy to breathe through. And these are N95, and we use a silicone adhesive on it. So I could take this mask, pull it off, seal it to itself, put it in my pocket, take it back out, and pull the adhesive apart. Kind of think like a Post-it note. A 3M Post-it note, you could seal it to itself, and then I just slap it back on, and I'm good to go.
How many times can you do that? Like, how many times can you wear that mask, undo it, redo it?
So we could do, probably 10 times. It really depends on your skin and the oils on your skin and things like that. But on average, we get about 10 uses out of this.
So what I think is interesting, and this is totally not even the point, but like you could totally add some designs to that and make those the coolest looking Halloween masks in town. Some skeletons, some Frankenstein, some like crazy looking vampire teeth.
You could do a whole lot of things with it, with a pen and markers, and change things up. We actually make it in 2 different colors, but we're concentrating on gray, so we make it in yellow. So that would be very interesting to do something like that with.
I mean, this could be great for, honestly, like this could be the Santa Claus mask. Right? Sure. Like think about it. Like you have the white beard, you have the whole thing, and like you can actually have a Santa Claus who's not going to risk his life to give his kids a decent Christmas.
Yeah, it very, and we do make it in 3 sizes. So we make an extra large. Think about NFL linemen, guys with the big heads, wide heads. That's what it is. This yellow one is the large size, and that would fit you most adults. And then we have a smaller size. And right now, the smaller size, believe it or not, we're selling as many smalls as we are large, because the small fits women fantastic. They have smaller facial features, and nobody makes a respirator, or very few make respirators of a small size.
So how does that work with beards? Like, is this going to kill am I going to have like marks? I'm joking about that, but like, how does it work with beards?
Well, you know what? Since this is a N95 certified respirator and we fall under OSHA with it, OSHA says you have to be clean shaven. And so if you have a beard, it keeps any respirator out away from your skin, and it leads to leaks. But this silicone adhesive does not really stick to hair. So if I put this on my eyebrows like this and pull it off, it comes off. So it wouldn't, be defoliate or taking your hair. It's not one of those strips.
Right. I mean, for those of us trying to fight a pandemic in style, like this is really cool. Like this, like I've seen, one of our clients is turning on masks, a kit that allows you to have these masks, and it's a really design focused product that looks really good, and it's easily accessible. And I'm thinking like it's fascinating to me to see all the different ways you can take something that is like serious and safety and make it actually look really interesting and actually be much more effective, I suspect, than potentially other masks.
Sure, absolutely. One of the things also is the way we package it. So this right here is a package of 10 masks. Okay, so it's thin, it's lightweight, and you can really kind of carry it wherever you go. This is a stack of 100 masks. So we can fit 30,000 on a pallet for stockpiling and things. And our mask is very durable. Okay, so I can crush it up, pull it apart, and still have it be, maybe pull it apart, effective.
Sure. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, and slap it back on.
Who are you selling to?
So we're selling to a number of different groups right now. One, selling to hospitals, healthcare, because that's where the real need is, protecting frontline workers. We also have a partner, Avery Dennison, Fortune 500 company. We've entered into a license deal, and they're bringing the mask into hospitals. Just healthcare is a hard nut to crack, and we have something that's unique and different. Selling a lot to law enforcement, a lot to municipalities. Believe it or not, we're selling a lot to hairdressers and hairstylists because it doesn't have straps. One of the other markets we're selling it is in a lot of nursing homes, not only for the workers there, but for the residents of the homes, because it is very, very comfortable, very easy to breathe through. doesn't affect if you have any hearing aids. And we all know the masks now with straps, whether they go behind your ears or over your head, are just so uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I look at these folks, the only human interaction outside of my wife and my little boy, and my mother and my mother-in-law. So like 4 people. The other interaction is usually going to be with people who I buy food from every now and again when we decide to eat out. And I imagine, like, holy cow, sitting behind a grill for like 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever it is, with something pulling at your face. Or I watch these streams of people at Disneyland, going about their day in Florida, but like they have all these masks. Like I feel for them. Like, I'm glad I don't have to wear masks on a daily basis, because I wear it for like 20 minutes and it hurts. I'm like, what is wrong? Do I have like exceptionally rigid ears? Are they just big?
Right. No.
What's the issue?
No, part of it is, it's that movement of those masks with it. So it's constantly moving and it's rubbing behind the ears, and we weren't designed to have things pulling on our ears.
Right.
But we've had a lot of people in healthcare that have worn ours for 8 hours or in the operating room and say that they actually forget they're having it on. One lady wrote us, she bought some, and she was on a 13-hour flight, and she had it on the entire time. She was able to sleep with it on, just very, very comfortable. Part of that goes towards the reason it's so comfortable is, I don't know where to put it, is the entire surface area. We have a much larger surface area for our mask, so it's more filter area to breathe through, so we can make it easier to breathe through.
And how are you going about selling to these various constituents? Hospitals? Do you have an account with Avery Dennison, law enforcement, hairstylists, nursing homes? Tell us, the goal of this podcast, John, is really to focus in on how companies grow in scale, right? So first element of this, you have to have a great product. Right. Second, you have to have a great product that people want. So you match those two, you mark those 2 boxes. How do you go about selling? Is it a lot of account-based selling and sales reps pounding the pavement? Is there any marketing and advertising? Do you even want to reach the end consumer, or is that not the right use of your time and resources? Like, tell us about those decisions.
There are many decisions, and part of our overall problem is there's so many markets for us to sell into, whether it's healthcare, whether it's municipalities, whether it's retail, and then there's the whole direct to consumer side. And our challenge has been to focus on, where's the lower hanging fruit right now. So we're doing that through some targeted advertising, some PR. The interesting thing is, people see our mask and they try it on and they say, why have we never heard of this before? And, that's been part of our struggle. Prior to COVID, if I asked you what an N95 was, you would have scratched your head and said, I have no idea. Now everybody kind of knows what's happening. So the last, 6-7 months have been just a whirlwind for us. So we're still trying to get our feet underneath us. We do have a big agreement we did sign with the Defense Logistics Agency. They do the procurement for the military, and they have asked us to development project. They want us to source some new materials for the filter, because these filters are in high demand. There's so many companies now making masks, and there's only so much supply. So we're out there, we want a contract, and so we're sourcing it, and hopefully that will result in us getting significant quantities initially of masks into the hands of military. Once people put our mask on, they absolutely love it. It's just a matter of how do we get it out there.
So it's trial. So a lot of your success is going to be trial. It
is. It truly is. And the other challenge that we have, and I had sent you, the idea here is, the difficulties of building a better mousetrap. Or selling a better mousetrap. We have a better mousetrap in a very conservative environment where, people are used to traditional cup style masks with straps, and that's what they're used to. Now we come along with something that doesn't look anything like any of those masks. It doesn't have straps, it doesn't have that metal bar, and it sticks to your face. So getting people to adopt it is one thing. Getting the people that make the buying decision to make that decision is another, you know?
So let's talk about this, right? So you're talking about ads and PR. So
yeah.
Let's talk about PR first. I mean, is your strategy take any conversation you can have to get more action, more press, because this applies to everyone? Are you looking for decision, like let's say nursing homes, for example? I'm sure there are publications where that nursing home operators and management read, trade publications. Like, do you actively focus on that? Like when you get a new account from the nursing home, is it because they read an article or saw something about you? Is it because you have salespeople calling on them? Is it because they saw an ad? I'm really interested in this part of this because I think it can help a lot of companies.
Sure. So two things. One, we seem to get the most traction and it's word of mouth. So nursing homes, for instance, that is it's a tight, small community. And when one nurse or one facility manager finds out about our mask because somebody else is using it, they're sharing masks and sending them. And so we get a lot of calls that way. We're also starting to do focused, not only PR, but advertising in a lot of the health and safety magazines, and dealing a lot with, the industrial hygienists. Those are the people that are responsible for making sure that people are protected within whatever the type of organization. They're very knowledgeable about PPE and respiratory protection. Oftentimes they're the ones that are implementing the respiratory protection programs. And part of their challenge is fit testing people, making sure the right mask fits the right person. So that's where, our focus is for a lot of this going forward from here.
Amazing. And when you think about advertising, are you doing print? Are you doing digital? What's working? What's not? And actually, my first question is, how long have you been? Like, I imagine before I'll take a step back, if you don't mind. I imagine before coronavirus, your industry is going to be very account-based, human to human, people pounding the pavement, so to speak, and talking to other decision makers, right? Because it's a very narrow group. There aren't a lot of places for your people to organize. Maybe there's some trade shows and expos and whatnot, but generally speaking, you're not going to see ads for distributors or manufacturers of N95 masks. Fast forward to 2020, September, everyone wants one. How long have you been advertising in general, and what have you learned during that process?
Well, I wish I could tell you we've been advertising a long time and I have wonderful, wonderful stories. But let me just back up and give you a little context of this company. So I'm one of the founders, the original guys, the inventor, worked many, many years, struggled, mightily for this. And then in 2015, was able to, I end up selling the company to two guys, and they were running it and they infused a lot of capital in it. And I was consulting back because I had all the product knowledge and manufacturing and that. And then unfortunately, last year, July, one of the two partners, he was the operations guy, passed away unexpectedly. And the business itself was going to close up. They had a lot of challenges with government certification and things like that. And so the guy that had the money did not want to continue the business. And they were going to close up business at the beginning of this year. And then COVID hit. And since we had a certified mask on the CDC website, our phone went crazy. And we had 500,000 masks, the eye shield mask in inventory. And so I called the money guy and I said, hey, I think I could sell these, and proceeded to sell 500,000 masks. And he calls me and says, this was always your company. I really believe in this mask. How about if I sell it back to you? So he sold me the company back, and that was really the end of April, beginning of May of this year. So I've only been at the helm of this really now for 4 months, and it's been, a tiger by the tail. So we're really, at this point, the craziness of the market is settling down. We're getting our feet underneath us, and we're really starting to focus, more targeted advertising and marketing, saying, okay, after COVID hits and this spike, where do we want to be positioned after this? And, healthcare is one of them. Defense contracts are another, but also that entire health and safety space, where they understand protection. And, one of these things, we borrow a line from, James Carville, and when he said, it's the economy, stupid. Well, with us, it's the seal, stupid. Because if it doesn't seal and you don't have the right fit, all the things are going around the outside and not going through the filter itself. So, and our mask works on both the inhalation and the exhalation. It filters the air. So it's protecting not only you, but your coworkers as well. So I don't know if that answered the question. It was
so
kind
you're riding a high right now. Like you're just like, holy cow, we're in this. And now is your moment. You've been at this since, at least for this business, since 1998, and it's 2020. The world is your oyster.
It is, it's the world is my oyster, and I've got an oyster knife, and I'm trying to get that thing open. So it's, but yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah. And, the thing is, we've always been a firm believer in this product and that it can really help people. And that's why I stayed with it for so long and struggled with it for so long, because it is a game changer. It's comfortable. It's easy to breathe through. It fits everyone. And, if a mask is not comfortable, you're not going to wear it. It's just reality. And so, ours checks all those boxes, and it's made here in the US with all domestic components.
So when we look at the remainder of this month, we're about to be in, by the time this airs, we'll be in Q4. It'll be sometime in October. Mm-hmm. We're in Q4, we're going to 2021. What are you doing for the next 6-12 months? You mentioned positioning your business. You're going to continue advertising and marketing. What do you envision for the next year of this company, and what's the best possible outcome of those actions?
So, part of our strategy really in reaching the various markets is through the distributor model. So we're looking to bring on distributors in these various market segments, and not building an internal sales force to try to reach all of them. We're also looking for some strategic partners in various market segments, whether it's retail, whether it's government sales, or some of the direct consumer stuff. We don't want to necessarily build it ourselves. If we could partner with somebody else, be more than happy to do that. We would really measure success, if at this point next year we have answers for each of those market segments, and a partner or the real strategy that's really, really working.
How do you, we didn't discuss pricing, and I don't want to pin you into a corner, but I do
Mm-hmm.
want to ask you, do you if I wanted to buy this as a consumer, do I have the ability to buy this from you?
Sure. So you can buy it off of our website.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ready Mask. You see my sign in the background.
Perfectly placed. Yes.
ReadyMask.com. We, like all certified masks, we're not allowed to sell on Amazon because they're keeping those for healthcare. So we're not up there right now, but we also want to be selling through distributors. So, you can go to your local distributor and purchase through them if we have a relationship, but direct from our website.
And how much, and so consumer facing pricing, what does it cost on your website?
So retail pack like this is $5.99 a mask. Okay. And that's full per mask.
So yep. 10 masks, I'm paying almost $60.
Correct. Yep. So that's the retail side. So through distribution, you know, prices are, we sell them to our distributor for much, much less than that. We need the higher retail price so that they have margin as well. So, you know, the interesting thing is, you know, when we're talking to people, we do a lot of follow-up phone calls for sales, and for a lot of people, the price is not the issue. It's really the performance. You know, you think about, you know, each mask full retail is $5.99. You know, people pay that for a cup of coffee.
Totally. So, and what's also interesting is that it's actually it's if you're wearing this 10 times, it's actually 60 cents per wear.
Correct.
Which is still, in a way, to me, it feels a little bit expensive, but if it's, people will all day pay for comfort. If I can be safe from a worldwide pandemic and be comfortable, and it looks pretty darn cool, I'd do it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, we have resisted offshoring this. We want this to be a domestic mask produced here in the U.S.
Well, you end up with a national security asset, by the way. I mean, if all our manufacturing, or the vast majority of our manufacturing, is in China, and there's a shortage of the very thing that the whole world needs, well, guess who's going to get it first? So you end up becoming a national security asset, which has got to count for something when you're looking at defense contracts and healthcare contracts, right?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So that we're in the midst of that right now as well. So, you know, we are manufactured in the U.S. We're very compliant, meaning we use all domestic components. So, you know, the filter, the adhesive, the eye shield, all of that is sourced here in the U.S.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so John, tell us again, how can people, if distributors and other strategic partners want to reach out and work with you, how do they connect with you?
So connect to us through our website, readymask.com, ready with an I. They also can email me, first letter J, and then last name Schwind, SCHWIND, @readymask.com.
This is great.
You know?
This is great.
Yeah.
John Schwind, president at Global Safety First, LLC. Thanks for being with us today. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Robert, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the time.